Yeah, everyone should be about on. May want to give people a few more minutes, but everybody have a good weekend. Yeah,
Pretty good.
yeah,
It got warmer yesterday. That was wonderful.
yeah, yeah,
It was.
yeah. Yeah. Kim, did you get your wiring replaced? Did you get it?
Yeah.
You did?
No, on that home inspection.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, he didn't inspect the roof because of snow that day. So we're not quite ready to turn in our request for repairs. He's got to go out and do the roof today.
Oh, okay. All right.
But yeah, I'm asking for it all.
Yeah. Blame you.
Shoot for the stars.
That's it. That's it. If you miss, you'll hit the moon. Isn't that the quote? So,
Yeah,
yeah,
something like that.
yeah. All right. Well, you can take it away, Muggs. So, I'm,
All right. Well, Lyle was asking me to he thought he had to be at the meeting today. I hate you sick, dude. Get better. So Lyle asked me to kind of go through the book review. And so I created some questions to kind of help us move along with the discussion on the book. I'm assuming everybody got to read or listen. I listened. Can y'all see? Can y'all see the questions?
Yes. Yeah, they're up there.
Okay. So
Yeah.
if y'all are ready, we'll jump in. So number one in the book, cheese is a metaphor, of course. What does that represent to y'all? What does cheese represent to y'all? Anybody
Hey,
there?
it's life. It's
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I feel like at different
the
times
the maze is
it's
life.
different things.
Yeah.
Like
So
sometimes it might be work, sometimes it's like family and stuff.
yeah, it could be anything. It could be relationships. It could be business. It could be spirituality. It could be, whatever your cheese is. That's kind of the whole concept of the book is. I listened to the author in the Audible book that I read, and the author he created it after getting divorced, and he had some old moldy cheese, and I've had some of that too. So he created this and it didn't really start out to be a business oriented book, but it quickly became that, and it's used a lot in the military as well. And so that was kind of his creation came out of a bad relationship. So it could be a number of anything. And I think you answered number two already. What does the maze represent? That's just life. Everybody agree
Life
with
in
that?
general. Yeah.
Yeah, life.
Yeah, because
So
your cheese can be different things according to where you are in life and what you're going through.
that correct. Yeah, good. That's good. Yeah, because it really. I mean, I think about it as business, but it can be so much more. So the cheese is kind of a broad spectrum of things it could be at any given time, to be honest. So whatever's going on in your life. So number two, I think everybody kind of agrees the maze is just life. It's just whatever we deal with on a daily basis and which tip, turn, and twitch and everywhere which way we go. So number three, I wrote identify both the cheese and the maze in your life and imagine someone moved your cheese. How would you cope with the changes? So what do you do? Any
You
thoughts?
have to always be ready with a plan B. I mean, my grandmother told me that when I was little. She didn't use the term plan B. I heard that later, but I thought that's so true. You've got to be ready to pivot all the time. If something's not working out the way you want it to, you've got to have a backup plan. Um, but she did always say the only thing that never changes is change. I mean, she said that my whole life. Just be ready because things will change.
And they do. So any other thoughts on how would you cope with those? How would you cope with the cheese getting moved? Mine got moved. I mean, it's gotten moved several times, and it's really hard to cope with it sometimes to how to figure out how to go after that cheese again. So it's this book means a lot to me because I've dealt with a lot of bad cheese and missing cheese. So it kind of, it does. It always has kind of rang hell to me. Is how do you do it? So any other thoughts on that?
I'm like him and I
So,
freak out.
well, that's so we'll get to that in a minute. So
Y'all may think I'm
number 4.
crazy, but I got put on medicine. That's what helped me.
Well, yeah, well, I jumped in a bottle, so it's whatever's there.
Lexapro
So
20 milligram. Try it out.
so we all have something we have to deal with when our cheese is moved. So number 4, what changes have you already experienced in your life, and were you threatened, angry, frightened, disoriented, or excited by the change? Be honest. And how did you do with those challenges or changes? So that we just talked about it. What you medicine. I went to alcohol, which with my cheese got taken away or moved. So there's a lot of things that you do get frightened and angry. And I like something that in the after book or whatever. It's some fear is useful, but too much can be immobilizing.
Yeah.
So what do you think? Be honest.
Yeah, when we got pregnant with our third, that was that was very unexpected and very not planned, and that's when I panicked and got on medicine. But and then that's when the Lord led me to real estate, and here I am now. So it all worked out.
Those unexpected changes that lead to something different. Nothing.
Yes, big time.
Any other thoughts on number 4? Do you feel threatened or disoriented or something? Do you feel excited about the change? I'm finally feeling
Eventually.
exciting about. I'm
Eventually.
finally feeling exciting about the change, because I think I had all those threatened, and I was angry, and I was frightened, I was disoriented, and now I'm finally kind of feeling excited about the change, because I've gotten the fear of kind of gosh, everything is just so hard and difficult, but I was putting myself into that. So now I'm trying to see. I'm a lot like Hall, to be honest, and we'll go there in a minute. Um, Number 5, can change be beneficial? I think you just, Abby, you said it benefited you to get into real estate, didn't it?
Yes, I mean, I was a school teacher for 11 years in Elmore County. I loved it, but I wanted to, I had the opportunity to do this, and this is bigger and better than what I was doing. So,
Anybody else that think this is beneficial? Change?
Hey, so I had to take a call from an attorney, but yeah, I am like I had a whole nother career in life before I came to real estate. I've only been an agent for 5 years now, and which I absolutely love. But to make a change from going to a corporate job, the security, the guaranteed income, guaranteed,
Mm.
real estate is anything but it we had changes in the company, and we were closing offices and reorganizing, and yeah, I was kind of scared, but I was pretty confident that I had a place in the company, but it's not what I wanted. And so I was mad. So all these emotions that I went through, but bottom line, it was change was going to happen. So if change was going to happen, I'm going to make it happen the way I wanted to. And absolutely terrified, but the change I made, I don't regret. And on top of that, and I'm not going to preach or anything, but being so scared, so hurt, my faith changed. It just a whole benefit came out of that struggle that I went through, and the decision making, and it just my prayer life totally changed. And so you have to go through all that, and uh, struggle, kind of like I think about the oh gosh, the butterfly. You know, y'all have heard the analogy about the butterfly and the struggles that it has to go through in the cocoon before it can become a big, beautiful butterfly. I mean, that's kind of like the change process. And thank God it worked out. No regrets.
Anybody else? Mine was kind of similar, Kim. I had that second piece of moldy cheese I refer to as Satan. But if it had
Can we
not
just
been
go ahead and get out of the way how many different pieces of moldy cheese you've had?
just two,
Okay.
just two. But that second piece of moldy cheese, that I had a steady, not a great paying job at all, but it was steady, and I had a boss that covered my insurance completely. I had a free truck to drive. I had 401k, had benefits, didn't make much take home pay, but I had a lot of security. And being with moldy cheese, number two, got me out of my comfort level, and I got my license, and yeah, I've done some amazing things, and I'm it's just what I was able to do in those years was really amazing. Had some tough times and had some really good times, but and it's been a cycle up and down, of course, most of y'all know, but yeah, it was beneficial because it led me to something that I do that I feel I'm really good at and I truly absolutely love. And what I was doing before was, uh, I dealt with the public all day long, and I tell people all the time, it's like, y'all think it's stressful to sell real estate and things we have to deal with. Work in a parts house and knowing everybody that comes in there, 99% of them are spending money they absolutely do not want to because something's broke and they don't have the extra money to get it fixed. So everybody's angry. So, I love what I do. I mean, absolutely love the fact that I get to be that person. So, but that change was hard, but it was extremely beneficial on the tail end of everything. It's been extremely, so I can't complain. So, anybody else? That
I'll say something. One of the things that I've found, like when I feel change or going through change, is that I kind of like with the cheese, like I try to hold on to what was, and then also try to accept what's new, what's changing. And to me, I've realized that like I've just multiplied the problem, or the change or the adjustment or whatever it is, because change and newness in general is always scary. It brings you out of your comfort zone for sure. So, but I think that I found that like the faster I let go, and the more I embrace the change, the easier the transition time seems to be. So.
Yeah, that was one of the things that I listened to the audible book, and they had an interview with the author. I don't know how many of y'all listened to that, but it was really insightful. And he said it took him a long time to write this book, believe it or not. It was like almost 15 years or so before he actually wrote it. But he made a comment. He said that people would come up to him and want to have an autograph signed on the page that meant most to them. And the most signed page that he ever did was, "What would you do if you weren't afraid?" Which is kind of an interesting. What would you do if you weren't afraid? I mean, like I said a while ago, a little bit of fear is useful, but a lot can just shut you down completely. So, what would you do if you weren't afraid? But so that was something interesting to me. And you're talking about change. One of the other things, which the next thing we'll get into, is kind of where I wanted to get to. But the change and some of the other things he talked about that I started thinking about was that change accelerates really quickly now, and it's done so much quicker than it was when I grew up, and even since I've got in the business, it's changed just absolutely amazing. I mean, when I got in, there was no Zillow, there was no Trulio, there was no Redfin, there was Realtor.com, and that was it. And so, we had print media, we had the newspaper, we had so many things, and it's just changed so drastically, so quickly. And so that change can be really hard if you go from one extreme to the other, because it accelerates so quickly. And something I thought about was, and I've thought about this numerous times over the years, is, are you ready for that change? And some of the discussions after the book was, businesses that have been tried and true for so long, and they're changing. Not much like our real estate industry has changed drastically just in the last 2 years. But I always think about Kodak. When I was growing up, there was a full whole department that sold film and processed film, and you had to wait 3 days to get your pictures back from a vacation. Now it's instantaneous. That and Kodak had such a, they were the standard of film. They're gone. I mean, it's just, there's no industry. They didn't a little bit of change. They lost a complete industry, was just absolutely decimated, was gone with digital. So,
True.
how do you adapt to that kind of change? Will you be ready for that kind of change? Can you see it coming? That's the big thing, was, can you see the cheese, getting moved as you're looking at it? So that was one of the things I always think about Kodak, was like, man, it's such a drastic difference from when I was growing up, and it wasn't that long ago that it all changed to a digital world. I mean, you still bought film, in the early 2000s, it was still, you went out and bought film and had to had to take them to Walmart and stick your disc in there and get all your pictures made. Well, before you had to take the roll back, you could take your scan disc and take it in there and get it developed. But now you can print them off a computer. You can send them to the internet, and they'll send you a nice laminated portrait back, for $2 or whatever it is. So a lot of changes. So the number one, the one I really wanted to, that always made me think about when I read the book, listen to the book, was number 6. And in the book, the 4 characters represent the 4 parts of ourselves, from simple as the mice to complex as the little people. I'm one of those. Is there one character you relate to more than the others? And which character do you relate to, or can you relate to more than one character? This is the one I thought was very interesting. Which character do you really relate to? Has it changed? Did you morph in from one character to another? No, they're not crickets. They're mice.
I felt like I could relate to all of them, but if I had to narrow it down to one, it would be him, unfortunately.
Really?
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
surprises me. I would not think you would be a him. That shocks me. This is why I thought this one was a fascinating question.
Yeah.
Who do you relate to? Which character?
Well, and I mean, as far as business, I would say him.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
Feel like I've probably been a him, but I've learned to adapt, and now I'm more of a Hall. Just kind of reluctant to get going, but find that it's necessary for survival, essentially.
All right, guys, come on, speak up.
I've got a little bit of sniff in me, but I'm a haw. I'll check it out, but I'm gonna move. I'm gonna make changes. I actually like change. That's why I redecorate my house like every 2 years or so. But I life is boring. I like change. The only thing that hasn't changed is my husband. That's the one consistent.
But for most, change can be really difficult, though. I mean, it's. I give you my example. Is I used to be a little bit of sniff and scurry when I got in. I was everywhere at every event, did everything, tried every advertising, tried to do everything I possibly could get my hands on, and I was sniffing scurry all the way. I was sniffing and scurrying the whole time, and did that for a long time. And then I became him. I actually absolutely became him. And I thought, well, this is going to be great. The saying was, when I got into business, was, once you get some repeat customers, you're good, you're set for life. That was kind of the mentality when I got into business. It's like, you get 10 or 12 customers, repeat customers, you're solid. You don't ever have to, you don't have to worry about it. Wrong. Because it has changed so fast. So I was him for quite a while, actually, and I'm really becoming Hall. I'm not sure I'm going to get back to the sniff and scurry, because I'm not sure I'm old, age wise and energy wise. I don't know if I can get back into the sniff and scurry, but definitely Hall. I see the change now. That's why I've adapted and trying to adapt to everything that's new. And, I know that customers are not going to stay with you like they used to. And so you've got to be ready to adapt and capture new business. And as far as my personal life, I'm just kind of meh. But business wise, I see the changes that have done and made, and they keep changing. And so I'm like Hall. I'm learning to adapt and to embrace the change. And like I said, Kim, it's been fun too. I've kind of really enjoyed this kind of getting back involved and getting to do things again, and getting out socializing like I used to, and things that I used to do a lot that I just absolutely just quit for a while. So that's mine. So anybody else got any?
I'm definitely a scurry. I think it's age too. I'm in that. I mean, I feel like I'm young.
That helps a lot, trust me.
I feel like I'm young, but even though I'm very closer to 40 than I used to be, but 40 is the new 20. I'm telling you, calling it now. But I'm definitely a scurry. But I haven't always been a scurry. I think I'm getting older, so therefore, like, I don't care as much what people think. Back in your younger years, you care what people think, whereas now I have 3 kids later and second career, I don't care. So, and I like change. So,
Dawn, did I hear you laugh? Was that you laughing gently?
Yes.
I
Yes.
thought you. Yeah. So what's the new 60, Abby?
80. My great grandmother, y'all, is like the
Don't
80
tell me
is
your
the new
great grandmother
60.
is 60. Oh
No,
my.
I'm telling you, no, you got to listen to me. She's
I haven't
80.
had a great grandmother in 30 years.
No, y'all listen. She's 80, but she's the new 60. My mom, who's 60, is the new 40, and I'm 40, who's the new 20. Y'all,
I like it.
yes.
Sounds good. I like that. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
How my mama has a 36-year-old, I don't know.
Wait till you wake up every morning and everything hurts. You'll think 30. My dad's 82, still works 5 days a week. He's in outside sales, and he gets up and in fact,
my great grandmother, who's 80, she still works at the Chamber of Commerce in Wetumpka. Yep. She don't let nothing slow her down.
These last few snow days have absolutely just about to drove my dad nuts because he can't get out and work. He's just absolutely insane. But anybody else? Come on, give me your thoughts on which character are you? Or are you a little bit all of them? Is Lyle still with us? Hey, Lee.
I'm here, but I am coughing up the door. I'm sorry.
Oh.
Yeah.
I was going to say, somebody better go check on him.
Yeah, no, I'm good.
All right. I just want to know which character are you, Lyle?
I think if I had to pick, probably a scurry. That's probably my tendency is to jump around. So if I had to pick one,
All right. Well, so number 7, and I'll be respectful of time. So why is it so hard for most of us, not in caption, all of us, to accept when our cheese is moved? Why is it so hard to figure out when our cheese, if we're not watching our cheese, it can quickly be gone? And so why is it so hard for us to accept it when it is gone? Just disbelief, or or can some of y'all see that your cheese is starting to go away?
I feel like I get comfortable in certain situations and I just convince myself that it's going to stay that way. So then when it does change, I'm like thrown off and I don't want to accept the fact that it did change.
That fear kicks in.
Right.
Yep.
My cheese slipped off my cracker a long time ago.
Well, at least it didn't get moldy. You can pick yours back up. Anybody else? All right. Well, the last thing I want to leave y'all with, and I appreciate Lyle letting me do this. It's been fun for me because really do get a lot of that book. I've actually listened to it about 3 times, to be honest. And one of the big things, and especially at the end when the author spoke about the book and how he came up with the concept, and um, was he inadvertently named Hall, and he kind of impressed numerous times in his the discussion that he had at the end, was you got to laugh at yourself, and that's the one of the biggest keys to being able to move on, be happy, is laugh at yourself, laugh at your follies. Y'all know I do that all the time. I'm always making fun of myself and what I've done and what I've been through, and that keeps my sanity, I think. So that was one of the big things that you got to laugh sometimes. It's inevitable. Your cheese is going to get moved. It's going to get eaten. You got to take care of it. So, but you got to continue to keep laughing at yourself. And he said he didn't name Hall with that in mind, but it kind of ha. So it was part of the book. He just realized it was inadvertently in there. So, but he said, laughing at yourself is something that is vital to just everything, to your personal life, your business life, whatever it is. So anyway, any other thoughts on the book discussion? Crickets again.
I'm just glad it was short because I waited till last minute to read it. So I'm just glad I could read it in about 4 hours.
It's that, it actually, like I said, I listened to it off and on, not all the way through, but I picked it up here and there. I probably listened to it at least 3 or 4 times. And, I get a little bit out of it differently each time I read it.
Yeah.
One of the things that I think I need to start doing is Hall, as he decided to get back out in the maze. First of all, I got to keep my sneakers around my neck because I put those a long time. Y'all can look at me with my belly. My sneakers have been missing for a long time, but I've got to, put those sneakers back on, get out in the maze. And something I liked that I didn't really think about, but I think it's kind of lost in the concept of the book is and I don't do this, never have, but I need to start doing this, is as he went through the maze and as he got back into it and he realized he enjoyed it like I am right now. I'm enjoying getting back involved and doing things. And he wrote what I would call affirmations, on the wall. He would put out, and he would, as he went through the maze, he would write reminders. And I think that was because, in my opinion, I think if you started to go back, you could relook at those affirmations. You could look at those things and say, no, I'm going the wrong direction. I got to go this way, or at least take another corridor, or try something new, or do something different. So I've got to think that's one thing I want to do is kind of put those writings on the walls. Stick a post-it note somewhere and says, don't forget to do this, or hey, get up and do this, or whatever it is. And I thought that was kind of a great message, was to keep reminding yourself. Sometimes that's hard for me, is to keep reminding myself I've got to get up, I got to get motivated, I got to find my new cheese, I got to get out in the maze again, I got to do whatever it takes to make myself happy. And I think the part of it was, my opinion too, was looking for the cheese again really is fun. It's really is satisfying to kind of get back out in the maze and looking again. So that's just my thoughts. Crickets again.
Thanks for doing this, Muggs. You've done such a good job. You really have. I read this book when it first came out, so just kind of skimmed it again when I realized this was going to be our very first book club selection. I was glad to do it again, but you've done a great job.
Well, I appreciate it. And thanks, Lyle, for, I thank Lyle for asking me. I don't know if y'all can, if y'all okay with that.
I really enjoyed it, and I think I speak for everybody that I think you did a great job. I really did. So I think
Great job.
I think the book club it's good to talk about for me personally, like, and also sit back and listen and like just talk something besides real estate or whatever it is, and get different opinions and perspectives. I've really enjoyed it, and I appreciate you doing this.
Yeah, no problem. And it has, like the Dr. Spencer said, it didn't come out as a business oriented book. That was not what it was written about. It was about that moldy cheese he was married to, and that it kind of morphed into a business book. But it really can be, your cheese can really be anything. It can be relationships or marriages or whatever. I mean, whatever.
Well, there's so many life applications for this
Yeah,
this
really.
concept and this approach. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So, anyway, that's what I got, guys. I'm assuming Lyle, will somebody pick a new book?
Yeah, if you guys have got this, suggestions, I figured we do a poll this next time. We'll throw it up in the group chat. I've got a couple. If anybody else has got a couple, send them to Kennedy, and we'll, excuse me, we'll get them on the poll and figure out the next book. So.
I haven't read the book, but if y'all ever heard the speech by the admiral when he gave the commencement speech to Texas about making your bed,
No,
have y'all ever anybody heard that?
I've heard it. It's been a while.
It's one of the most amazing, powerful speeches I think I've ever heard, and it's about the little things, and it's about making the little things, the challenges that you face every day. And it was built around SEAL training, Navy SEAL training. But it's so much more than that. And that was just a speech. And one of the first one was, get up and make your bed every day. That you've accomplished one thing that day. My bed's made before 5 o'clock every morning. So you get up and make your bed. Huh?
It does make a huge difference.
Yeah, it does. I mean, mine's made before 5 o'clock every morning. So he actually wrote a book, Lyle, if you want to look at it. It was a speech, and he's actually read a book. I was doing a little research last night. He actually wrote a few books, but anyway, that'd be, if you get a chance, YouTube Admiral Commencement Speech, Texas University. It is powerful, absolutely powerful.
Yeah, send the title to me, and
Okay.
We'll get a poll of this next one going up, and that way, and maybe whatever gets second, we'll just call that for March. So, yeah.
Are you going to do any romance mystery novels? I'm okay with that. Whatever.
Good Lord.
I have plenty of suggestions.
I was about to say, Abby, you can be quiet. Like, we're not doing that. We're not doing 50 Shades of Grey or anything like that.
Hey now.
There's a book, a good customer service book. It's kind of old because I used to teach this class years ago, but it's by Ron Willingham, and it's called "Hey, I'm the Customer," and it's about going above and beyond for customer service. I think we could relate to that with our clients.
All right. Well, some old Lyle, we'll figure it out. Yeah, I was going to let y'all know we're having our first public policy meeting for the state association. Public policies are, we get together and meet when the legislative session's in place, and we meet every week to go over bills and things that we're either trying to fight or trying to get passed. And so we've already got the license bill drafted to basically do away with that horrible lawsuit that said we have to have something signed by everybody we meet anytime we meet with them. So that'll be coming up pretty quickly in the legislature this session. So we're gonna discuss that today. So we've got some other bills to deal with, but that's one I thought y'all might want to know about. That if we can get that passed, it negates the lawsuit, because if it's state law, the lawsuit has no bearing on it. So we might be able to get that passed, I think, pretty quickly. I think we will have enough support to. Yeah, and that's one of our bills we're going to talk about today. But that one will help, I think. So we don't have to have somebody. You have to discuss it, but you don't have to make them sign something. So we'll see how that goes. So we're meeting this afternoon, Zoom call, and we'll discuss it. And I'll keep y'all posted throughout the session of things that we deal with when legislative that are going on, if y'all want me to.
Yes.
All right. Thank you, Muggs. Really, really enjoyed it. Everybody
Thanks,
have a good
guys.
day.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. Y'all have fun. Talk soon. Yeah.
A couple reminders before we end it now. We do have the Bold Trail training tomorrow that'll be virtual. And then this Thursday is the First Call Coffee at Restoration in downtown Wetumpka. There is an event on Facebook So just like all the other events, if you put going, it kind of helps spread the word and gets the invite out to other people like that you have on your friends list and such.
Cool.
Okay.
Thank you, Kennedy. Anybody got anything else? All right. Y'all have fun. See ya.
Thanks, guys. See ya.
Bye.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.